Welcome to Health Coach for Women. Intentional living for more happiness and fulfillment in your everyday life with your host, Marsha Roopchand-Walker. Join Marsha as she shares her own personal wellness journey, as well as stories from our guests that will enlighten and inspire you to move towards better health and happiness. Now, here's your host, Marsha Roopchand-Walker.
All right, this guest that I have here, she is an herbalist as well as a doula, which she's going to fill us in on what that is. My next guest is Shamika of Essence Herbs. Shamika, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome, and I thank you for wanting to be a guest on the show. So first, can you tell me what started your path to becoming an herbalist?
Well, my grandmother introduced me to herbs at a very young age. I always had issues with going to the bathroom regularly. From there, of course, I went to college and everything like that, and I was majoring in biology, pre-health with a minor in chemistry. And I saw the disconnect. So I used to ask my professors and things questions like, well, where does prevention come in? Where does reversing disease and things like that come in? I'm not looking to just push pills. And from there, when I saw the disconnect, I was like, yeah, no, I'm out. This is not what I desire to do. I always wanted to be an OBGYN, so I, was planning to go to medical school and things like that, which hence to why I was, majoring and minoring in the courses that I was. But I saw what it was. We were just being taught to formulate pills and things like that, and it was no assisting. Everything was just to treat symptoms. And so from there, I took my knowledge that I obtained in college and applied it with my personal studies of herbalism and basically just combined the two. And I saw the disconnect within our community as well. And so that's what led me on my holistic journey and to start teaching and delving more into holistic health and herbalism.
Yes. And it is so funny that you say that because I feel the same way, because I was going to school for LPN, practical nursing, and from working, and that's why I started going back into work into the nursing home so I can get a feel for what it's like. And all that I saw was basically on every shift, there's just pill pushing.
Yeah.
Pill pushing. That is all. I know that, as you get older, you go through pain, you experience pain and everything like that. But there's no alternative treatments. There's nothing, there's no other type of therapy other than pushing pills. And I'm saying to myself, wow, is this not, I'm like you, this is not really what I signed up for. I love nursing, but it's about not treating the symptoms, but finding the root cause of disease.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's why for me, I'm like, okay, well, if I decide to go back, it'll only be because, let me finish what I started. But I don't really see me in that arena of pushing pills. So I totally can relate with you on that one. Medicine today is changed. It's not like how it was, back in the days, our ancestors, where if you were sick, you went out and got the leaves, you went and got the fruits and the leaves and you made your own medicine. Even Native Americans in Africa and all these different places, that's what they used. Chinese medicine, it was all herbs. Now today, it's something totally different where it's really just a business. And it's not about getting people healthy. It's about giving them pills so that now you have to treat all the other symptoms and side effects that comes with long-term use of the medication. So I'm sorry, I went off on that one, but I can totally relate with you on that one. So thank you for sharing that with me. So there are definitely many benefits to herbs, right? And for a woman, I know that there are what you can help women with herbs as far as like fertility. Can you talk a little bit about that and tell us, how herbs can help someone who's probably having issues with fertility or having problems with bleeding issues, such as myself that I had with fibroids. Tell us a little bit about that.
Okay, so I guess I want to first mention that within doing my research, my study that I'm doing now, I'm finding a lot of correlations between the infertility and prolonged birth control. Not saying that that's everyone's case, but I'm seeing a lot of that within our community. When we're younger, the first thing our parents want to do is like put us on birth control, right? And so I'm seeing a correlation between that. So I'm definitely researching that just to get, more insight and stuff like that. But I always want to mention it because some of us now are becoming mothers, and I want to encourage us to find alternative routes than actually, forcing and putting that on our daughters as well, because infertility is like on the rise, right? So a lot of times I talk to a lot of my clients about infertility. I introduce them into different herbs like false unicorn, shabatari, chaste tree or chaste berry, maca powder, and things like that. And so those herbs, even as well as rosemary, right, it's going to help with regulating your hormones. It is going to help and assist with heavy menstrual cycles, right? They come into place with balancing out the body. And so I always encourage people to look into those different herbs when it comes to fertilities, whether you're going to take it in the tincture form. I always recommend also taking it in a tea. And another thing that I want to mention too is that I encourage people, not to take it during their menstrual cycles, right? Get more in tune with your body and flow with your moon cycle. I really refer to my menstrual cycle as a moon cycle, and I do that because we basically have different phases, right? And so I encourage us to embrace those phases and just embrace the journey in general, because we're taught even as a young girl as well, not just birth control, but oh my gosh, a period is so nasty or a cycle is so nasty type of thing. So I encourage people to embrace that and listen to their body and things like that. But yeah, those are some amazing herbs to assist with fertility. Again, that's false unicorn, chaste tree or chaste berry, shabatari root, maca powder. You can look into red raspberry leaf, alfalfa. Like, it's so many different herbs out there to assist you with the different alignments that comes with infertility, as well as heavy menstrual cycles.
Yes, thank you so much. That was a lot of information, and I was really trying to retain all of that. I myself wish that I would have found someone like you during my time when I had fibroids, which is very common in the African American community. And I do believe that our diet plays a part in that, because even in the meat, the estrogen, it feeds off of that stuff. It grows, so the hormones and the food that we eat, those animal hormones, the stuff that they give the animals, that is, as they say, we are what we eat. So that affects us and our hormones, and me back then, I still love to eat, but, back then it was like, I want to eat. I didn't care about cheese. I didn't care about, what cheese can do and milk and all of these things and how it can play a part on your hormones. So I wish I knew those things that I know now. But now that I know it, I'm more conscious in the way I eat and what I put into my mouth, into my body, because we know that those things can affect women's hormones as well as fertility issues. Now, another thing I wanted to mention, well, what I like for you to share is, which I've never even heard of myself, was tell me what actually is a doula. I did look at the information on your page and I was like, I've never heard of that. So please explain to us what that is.
A doula is basically a birth worker, right? And so when I work with my patients, I'm basically assisting them through birth, not actually a midwife or anything like that, just assisting them. We come up with a birth plan. We develop things that they're going to eat, different aromas and different herbs that they would like to intake, because they will want to take the more holistic approach, right? I am always rallying for them in their voice during that time. And so, basically I assist them through their journey of birth. I teach them about breastfeeding, how to latch the baby. I supply them with different herbs to assist them with low milk production, everything if they have any tearing. I give them basically a holistic approach through their journey. And I usually get with them around 36 weeks, sometimes 34 weeks, depending on what exactly that they have going on. And I just journey with them with their appointments and things like that, and just really helping to guide them. A lot of women, especially within our community, are basically terrified when it comes to going to hospital, just because the deaths and things like that that go on, they don't have a voice. And so I am stepping as that voice. We develop a birthing plan, and we come up with a few things just in case the plan, doesn't go as planned. But I'm their voice. If they want to say, no, I don't want an epidural, no, I don't want these things, no, I'm not gonna, force them into a C-section and things like that. I am their voice. And so sometimes I do have a challenging experience with doctors, but I want all of our sisters to know that it's your body, it's your baby. Know your rights around that, and just support them on that journey. A lot of us do go in blindsided, not, really with a lot of support and help like that. So I help them, go to the house, help them pick up and things like that. I really take on my approach of being a doula as really a sisterhood approach, and just really loving on them any way that I can throughout their journey as well as postpartum.
Oh, wow. That is beautiful. I love that. I love the whole concept of it. I love the whole, being there and being that support system for the mother, for the expecting mother, because we know that time is an emotional time as well, right? And so, our hormones are already out of whack, and we're sensitive, extra sensitive. And when you go to the doctor, you're there for that moment. But who do you have after? You may have like some family, or you may not really have that support. You may not, there are single mothers out there, so you may not have that support. So when you coming in and being that extra sister, providing that sisterhood support is just truly amazing. And I love that. I mean, I've never heard of it until actually, discovering you from scrolling, trying to find you on Instagram. So that's amazing. I really love that. And I love the work that you're doing. Yes, for sure. Now, also, can you tell me now, what if someone is interested in learning more about herbs? Is there some type of training, like a special school that they go to, or, tell us more about how if someone would like to learn more about herbs, maybe not to become an herbalist, but maybe just to learn more about it for their own personal wellness, what things or what can they do with it? Take little courses or something like that where they can learn more about it.
So you can always buy books. There are a ton of books out there on a holistic approach. There's a ton of books about there on herbalism. I offer courses. I am getting more into doing them quarterly. You can also take courses, through a lot of people offer different courses. One thing I want to know is that because of Big Pharma, right? There's no like if you was a cosmetologist, you go down and get your license and things like that. That's not really what happened when it comes into getting into herbalism. You're basically self-taught. I like to sit at the feet of my elders. I learned a lot from my elders. And then from there, I taught myself everything. And so again, there are a ton of books out there. I offer a lot of classes. I teach in depth. I don't teach just on herbalism. I just finished up a course that was called Nurturing Your Garden, teaching sisters how to take care of their own garden before tending to the flowers of others, right? And so, there's so many books, there's so many resources. I encourage people always to just research on your own from there and look into different schools. And if you're going to look in, even if it's not my school, look into different schools and see what they actually offer. And is it also centered around your background? And just go from there.
That's great. That is awesome. I love that. I really do. And so we know that also, there are herbs. So we have to give the good as well as, I wouldn't say bad, but the facts on that herbs can interact with certain medications. So you do have to be careful with certain types of medications and using herbs. What advice would you like to give to us regarding that, taking herbs while you're on medication?
Right. Okay. So for me, I always give out a disclaimer first. I always tell people, I'm not a doctor. I'm not here to cure and treat. I'm here to just share information with you for educational purposes, right? I always encourage people to research. There are a lot of herb interaction books out there. A lot of them I post on my social media for people to take the time out to buy the books to actually research and see it. Does it affect any medication that you may be on? Always consult with your doctor before utilizing any herbs, knowing your source of the herbs as well. Are the herbs wild crafted? Are there synthetic blend? Educate yourself as much as possible as you can on the herbs. The people come to me all the time. I encourage them, okay, I will, we can research together, because I never want people to just be dependent on my knowledge. I want to also encourage people to on research and things like that, so we can research together. Let's take a call, let's do a consultation, let's walk through some things together, so I can also show you how to look for things yourself. Mm-hmm. But I encourage everyone to, if you are on other medication, check with your doctor first. Always be mindful though that again, pharmaceutical industry is a business, so of course they may discourage you not to take herbs, but again, it's your life, your body, and if you want to do your own research and introduce it in very small increments, maybe drinking like a tea once a week and things like that, and just see how it feels with your body and how everything's aligned, and just move along from there.
Right. That is absolutely it, because we know, I think St. John's wort, I think it is, you're on a blood thinner. I think that's one of the herbs that you couldn't take is St. John's. Right. If you're on warfarin or heparin or something like that. So I remember something from nursing school. So yes.
It is you was on blood thinners and things like that. A lot of people do take St. John's wort to assist with anxiety, depression, and things like that. But it's to note, to make sure that you're not on any other medications for that, as well as not any blood thinners. So yeah, you're absolutely correct about that.
Yes, so it's very important for you. Always do your due diligence, no matter where you're getting your information from. It's very important to do your due diligence and do your own research for sure. So my next question I have for you, what would you like to share with our listeners regarding any upcoming projects or things that you'll be doing as far as your business, and where we can learn more about the herbal products and what you offer, for people who are interested in going further?
Well, you can follow me on all social media handles at Essence the Herbalist. I am relocating back to Atlanta, so I do a lot of different pop-ups. I post all of my events on my page. I have been booked for a lot of events here recently. I offer classes every few months, even master classes, to educate people from so many different standpoints. I delve into holistic health when it comes to children. I also delve into holistic and herbal health when it comes to men's health, right? And so I share a ton of knowledge. I teach freely. I love sharing the knowledge. I am doing a revamp now, revamp the entire business. So I'll be relaunching here in September. And yeah, you can just follow me on social media for all of my updates and all of my upcoming events.
Yes, and we'll definitely have all those links posted for our listeners to, if they want to go ahead and reach out further and get more information and be a part of what you're doing. Shamika, I really enjoyed this interview. I mean, this is my first time really actually having a real conversation with someone who's actually an herbalist, who actually studied, not just someone who dabble into herbs here and there, but someone who actually studied and learned from it. And what I loved hearing from you is that you've learned from your grandmother, because our elders have so much wisdom with all those, as well as other things, right, that they can teach us. So it's so important to, while we have the people that's elderly and they're in their right mind, they can give you that wisdom. Pay attention to that wisdom and take the advice that they're giving you. So they've been around long enough to share and guide us in the right direction. And your grandmother definitely led you in the right direction and teaching you, and where you've learned something where you are able to help so many people. And I really, really enjoy the whole part of the doula and what that does. I mean, that is just that is so beautiful. I've never heard of it. Like I said, I've never heard of it before until coming upon your page. I had no idea what it was. And you've taught me something today that I didn't know. So I'm so grateful that I was able to have this interview with you today. And I think that is all. Any other final thoughts you'd like to share with us before we close?
Just in closing, when talking about my grandmother, I always want to encourage our community to sit at the feet of our elders. They have so much wisdom and so much knowledge. And like you said, they've been here longer than us. And not only that, they have experience with our ancestors. Right. So get that knowledge from them. Teach that to your children. It is imperative that we change the narrative around medicine, holistic health, diet, exercise, and things like that in our community so that we can continue to thrive and we can continue to flourish. So again, always sit at the feet of your elders and learn and soak up everything that you can.
Yes, well said. Thank you so much, Shamika. I really appreciate it. And, we have to really look into, staying connected,
Right.
staying connected and possibly maybe even doing something later on in the future. So I thank you so much and I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you so much for listening to Health Coach for Women with your host, Marsha Roopchand-Walker. If you've enjoyed this podcast, please be sure to rate, subscribe, and review on your preferred podcast listening platform. We really appreciate that effort. Until next time.